This is from the Ground Up Productions, and today we have a special guest by the name of Sid, and he's from the band called Mama There Goes That Band. Let's get into it. No. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Lady Miz, and this is
Ray.
And this is from the Ground Up Productions, and we have a very special guest today. Today, we have a member from Mama There Goes That Band, and his name is Sid. What's up, Sid? How you doing today?
Really good. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How's the weather where you at?
Hot.
Well, that's a good thing, because it could be cold, right?
Yeah, can't complain after these winters we've had.
Yes, that's the truth. So before we get into the questions, why don't you introduce yourself and tell the people a little bit about you and your band?
I'm Sidney Howard. I'm one of the writers and arrangers for the band and producers. The other members are Al J. Boyd and Mark Drummond.
Okay, so how many members is in your band?
Well, right now there's 3. We had 4, and one of the guys left just before we signed the contract.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. And where are you guys from? Are you all in the same location, or are you spread out to different areas?
Well, we started at the historic Black College / University, Mississippi Valley State University, mostly known for Jerry Rice. And we were in a band there, and when we left, well, it was Mississippi, so everybody wanted to leave. I came to Detroit because I had connections with George Clinton. Mark and Al-J went to LA, and Marlon stayed in the South. So when technology allowed us to get back together and do things over the internet, we restarted.
So,
okay.
So y'all do all your work, even though you're spread out over the internet.
Yep.
Oh, good. Look, that's a good thing. Thank God for technology, right?
Yeah.
It allows you to take things, to a whole nother level and expand and continue to work no matter where you are. I think that's a great thing for all of us,
A good thing about that, it's allowed us to use people from all over the world in what we're doing.
Okay. Yes, that's a blessing in itself too. Because if you got a great bond with somebody and they're way across on the other side, the distance shouldn't stop that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
you're right.
Yeah. So how did you guys come up with the name Mama There Goes That Band? What's the history in that?
From former Nick, Mark Jackson, and him saying, "Mama, there goes that man," whenever someone would do a great move. And Al-J, being from the Bay Area, he decided to use that and play off the words and make it "Mama, there goes that band."
Oh, okay. Yes, that's a very unique name. I like that.
It's catchy.
Yeah. I can picture someone saying it too, like, "Mama, there goes that band." So how long have you guys been together as a group?
As a group, we've been together collectively since 1977.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. That's a lucky number.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
I was born that year. That's why I say that.
Oh, okay. Now I'm so old.
Now, being in a group that long, what did y'all do to keep that connection and stay together that long?
We just kept in touch. That was the main thing. We were great friends. I've known Mark Drummond, the guitarist, since we were in elementary school. So just staying together, that's the most important thing, just being friends. It's like a marriage.
Right, definitely. And it's not easy because you find a lot of groups, they, come together, but they break up and things don't work out, even though the music is great and people think the chemistry is great, but things don't work out. Kind of like, did you see the New Edition special?
Yep.
Right. So you see how, people on the outside don't really know what's going on the inside, and even to bring it to the present time, they were supposed to go on tour, and now that didn't work out. So It's good that you guys are able to stay together and keep producing great music. So
Yeah, on
kudos
that,
to ya.
yeah, on that tip, we did a song, produced a song with David Washington, the late David Washington, and he was in the band Chapter 8 with Anita Baker.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
yeah, he actually discovered her and signed her to the band. And long story short, it was a local group that got some mid-range level of success, and then she was discovered, and a bigger label bought them. But the classic story is they stripped the stars away from the rest of the band, and usually that's the thing that causes bands to break up. In our situation, it's bittersweet because we've never had enough success to be one of those bands that break up with bitterness.
Oh wow.
Uh,
Well,
yeah.
I wouldn't say you haven't had, because listen, I've been seeing what you guys been doing. I've been seeing the videos that you guys been putting out. I heard your music, I purchased your music. I think you guys are very great and awesome at what you do. So I do believe that your success is big.
Thank you.
Definitely. Most
You're
definitely.
right, because it's not just about money.
That's right. That's right. So how do you talk to me about how you see the music industry as a whole? Like, do you like it? Do you think there's some flaws in it? And what could be better if you think something could be better?
Uh, I'm going to come from a different angle. And I think the weakest part of the music industry right now are is basically music is not something like it was years ago, where people would go to a room, listen to a stereo, and just enjoy the music for the sake of the music. Music, for the most part, now has become a utility. It's a beat to dance to. It's something to have on when you're in the car cruising or whatever. And that's one of the things that hurt music. It became less of an art and more of a utility. That said, uh, the music industry was bought out by the motion picture industry, and that was basically one sector buying out its competition. So music became secondary in that they looked for the top percentile to promote and make stars, but then they bring in a lot of people who are never going to see any money. And in one estimation, they said that most people who sign to a major label make about as much as somebody who signs to McDonald's to be a fry cook.
Yes,
But they don't have the benefits. They don't have the health benefits. They don't have any of those things that come with it.
that is very true. Being in this industry, it is a risk, and you really have to love what you do to continue doing it.
Yeah.
I feel that um, how can I put this? When it comes to independent artists, bands, entertainers, I do believe, and you could tell me if you agree or disagree with this, that there is some benefit to being independent, because now you have the freedom to do what you want. And luckily, because of the internet, now you can reach more people than if it was just like, I'm just going to this location and that's when I'll see my fans. So how do you agree with that or
I,
disagree?
I totally agree with it. Because one of the problems that happened, we were talking about the problems with the music industry. You had people in there who were not experts at music. They were more experts at marketing, and they just decide to do whatever they see someone else doing. You mentioned 77. That was a great year for music. And when you look in black music alone, all the different singers, there's singers today that we would consider excellent singers that in 77 we thought, yeah, they're okay, because there were so many good singers and so many new sounds. There was never a Shaka Khan before Shaka Khan. There was never an Aretha before Aretha. There was never a Patti LaBelle before. And they all were able, and I'm just naming a few, and they were all able to coexist, all those great talents. Um, Around, I'd say 85, the industry started channeling into categories. So if New Edition, basically, which was a remake of the Jackson 5, that was the attempt. If that's the thing that's going, that's where they went. And then came the whole explosion of boy bands. And then, uh, what is the blonde girl hit me with that one? Britney Spears.
Right.
Britney Spears came out with that type thing, and everybody started doing that. So it became a thing where you had to be good at sounding like whatever else was out there. Because being in the industry, what they would tell us is, "Oh, you guys are great. I like what you're doing. I understand it, but people out there won't understand it." And they'd also say, "Well, I don't know how we could get airplay because you sound so different." Going back to 77, that was never a problem in 77.
Yeah, you made a really great point, which would gonna tie me into my next question is, and you kind of summed it up, but I just want to get clarity on this.
Okay.
In today's time, do you feel that to be original is extinct? Like they don't want to accept people who are original. They only want a copy of what they think worked for someone else.
I think you're absolutely right there. Um, the problem is you don't have adventurous radio stations. You know about Clear Channel, and I can't remember the other company, but what they do is they do all the programming for all the national terrestrial radio stations in the big markets. And so I noticed this in the 90s. I was listening to the music that was playing in Detroit. I had to make a trip to a studio in Chicago, and it sounded like the exact same playlist that I was hearing in Detroit. Not one different thing. And I remember where I used to love traveling to hear different music that was playing in different areas.
Yes.
Um, so when you get that sameness, then it becomes a format, and everything has to fit into that format.
You know,
Right.
it's like that now. Even when you listen to one artist, their music is all the same all the
Yeah,
way down. It's really nothing different about their music. It's like one big song on their album. It's
yeah, and the albums have to be the same.
Mhm.
You look at Stevie Wonder's Intervision. There's so many different things, so many different textures on that, same as Songs in the Key of Life. You couldn't make that type of album now
Right.
and have it promoted because they would want Living for the City was a big hit off that. So they would want 5 Living for the Cities on that album. And that would be the Stevie Wonder style.
Yep.
Same with the group I really loved was Parliament Funkadelic. And they were able to just go everywhere with what they did. And people liked it because they accepted Parliament Funkadelic as an idiom in and of itself. It was P-Funk.
P-Funk, right. That's right. That's right. I remember that too.
Now, when you
Okay.
look at today's music and you hear today's music and it's mostly based on a melody than actual lyrics. How
Yeah.
do you feel that when you're doing your music and when you're putting your music together? Do you,
Well, what we do, thing I have to say too, full disclosure, uh, I'm a jazz major, and LJ is a music major. And even though Mark didn't major in music, he's a music intellect also. So we can honestly say we can do almost every type of music. And also, I score for film. So I just finished a piece for Bruce Dern and Shea Wiggums. Uh, these guys. Bruce Dern is a legend, almost as big as Clint Eastwood.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Very nice. Okay.
yeah, so it's like I'm able to do so many types of music. Uh, the thing I love about music today, because it's so easy for me to lazily down music today.
Mhm.
I appreciate what people do with what they have,
Right.
because not everybody has had band, not everybody has had private lessons and such. And I look at some of the things that they do that, like one group, for example, that blew me away. It's not today, but uh, it's in the genre is Public Enemy.
yep,
Um, Terminator X, the things that he did with the remixes and stuff, he
Yes.
was able to make rock out of loops. So it's when they wanted to hit with a force that you would have a rock band do, he just did it with the loops. To me, that was genius. Um, so I don't mean to down everything, but as you say, a lot of people think of the challenge as sounding like someone else. And they finish an album and they say, man, I nailed it. This sounds just like. And in our generation, we didn't want just like, because if
Exactly.
somebody came out with something and they sounded just like, we called them on it.
Right,
We say,
right,
oh man, they're just copying, dot, dot, dot.
right, right. Yeah.
Even now when like the streaming sites, they'll put what the music sounds like so that they can link your music with somebody else, like
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of, and as an artist, as an independent artist, I appreciate that only because if someone don't know of me and my song comes up next, that gives the opportunity for the listener to hear my song. So I do appreciate some of the things that they have out there, but again, I appreciate originality as well. I
Yeah.
do believe in, being original. But I think it's okay, like sometimes to remake songs. Like I've remade some songs before, and I believe that it's okay to even maybe take a line or two to kind of represent that artist that you might like.
Yeah.
But to just totally try to be that artist, being yourself, I believe is more important. Um, Talk to me about your song. Is We Can Make It?
Okay, We Can Make It as a throwback to the old message songs that they used to do at Philadelphia International with Teddy Pendergrass and the OJs and such. This one, when we started it, I had the idea, as I was doing some of the arrangements, I had the idea to have it start like the song Family Reunion by OJs. If you haven't heard it, uh, Google it, go to YouTube and
Oh
listen
no,
to it.
that everybody knows. Everybody should know that song.
Yeah, that's a family reunion song.
It sure is.
Yeah. Um, so it's what we wanted to do is just kind of bring what Philadelphia International used to do, like with Wake Up Everybody, Family
Okay.
Reunion, and things like that, and talk about something that I think is being lost in our philosophies because a lot of people are, because of what's going on. 2020 has just been a monster of a year, not a good monster.
Oh my God.
And because of that, there's so many people feeling like, I mean, suicides are up. It's not talked about a lot. Suicides are way high for this year. And people just feel lost. And I think somebody needs to come out there and remind people that we can make it. We've gone through things. I mean, if on these grounds that this nation is founded, there have been horrific things. I'm watching this series called Barkskins on History Channel, and it basically talks about when the English and the French were kind of battling on for the frontier. One group was using one group of Native Americans, the other was using the Iroquois, and they were fighting each other and such. And have you seen the movie The Revenant?
I haven't. No.
I've heard of it.
Okay.
I've never watched it.
Yeah, if you see that, it puts you right there and you think, how can anybody live like that? It's cold, there are bears, there are wars going all around and stuff like that.
Wow.
And you look at where we are right now, we're dealing with potholes, not volcanoes, not caverns, not canyons. We're dealing with small problems that are hiccups, and we have to focus on the fact that when we all get together and we decide, we can make it.
That's right. That's right. That song is a beautiful song. It's a great vibe. I've been seeing some challenges online of people dancing to it. Yeah, it's been pretty good. And talk to me about, you guys got something going on. Weren't you in the paper and aren't you donating to the youth?
Yeah, I mentioned Mississippi, which
Mhm.
is historically one of the poorest states in the Union. And the thing about COVID really hitting people who have other problems, physical problems and such,
Yes.
especially
Yeah.
diabetes. And diabetes is very high in the Mississippi Delta, where our school was, Mississippi Valley State University. So we donated everything that we made in the first month or so to a program to feed people.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. God bless you guys for that. I think that's a really great gesture. It's a great thing that you guys are doing and helping the people, giving back. So, you're not just also giving nice, beautiful music to uplift and make people feel better. You're also out there doing other things to help. So that's really a really good thing. You was in the paper, didn't you have there? I seen a article with you guys in the
Yeah,
paper.
that was in the Greenwood Commonwealth,
Okay.
which is the biggest newspaper in Lafleur County, Mississippi, which
Okay.
is where the donations were going.
Oh, okay. All right.
Now I got a question, y'all. You said y'all was at a HBCU, right?
Yeah.
When you look at compare that to the I would call them other universities, would you say that you were happy you went to that type of school than one of the major universities that always get the promotion?
Well, I was, but and I know LJ loves it. He even he's out in California, and he took his son to a homecoming there so that he could see what it was, because anybody who saw It's a Different World, you see what that type of thing, that environment is. Our situation was almost like Wakanda, because I grew up in the South, and I grew up in a mindset that white people on TV might have had things better than me, but all the white people in the surrounding area of where I grew up didn't. Uh, I didn't appreciate it so much until I learned the history. But in the Mississippi Delta, I was living in a community where most of the people had doctorate degrees or master's degrees. They were always dressed 6 days a week. Saturday was your day off. Um, 6 days a week, 5 days going to school in suits and dresses, uh, then Sunday in suits and dresses. So what they set for us as an example was something akin to the Harlem Renaissance, at a time when the Harlem Renaissance had kind of faded because of the things that were happening after that. But for me, it was good, and my parents helped pioneer the college. So I came there in 1957 when I was born, um, and growing up with that and just seeing black men and black women that I didn't think of as, man, this is a black professor. I thought of it as, this is a professor. All the great things they did seemed normal to me. So even in this situation now that we're going through, we want to come with a positive message, because yeah, there is some systematic racism, but everything can be everything can be overcome. You had a systematic situation happening from England to what became the United States, and they overcame the greatest power at that time. So
Okay.
things can be overcome if we don't just focus on the fact that there's a problem and complain about the problem. We have
Right.
to find a way to overcome the problem, and this is why Martin Luther King and everybody who was part of that movement needs to be restudied, because they got inside the system. Stevie Wonder with "Happy Birthday" with the song for Martin Luther King. This is the first R&B person to change national law. So that shows the power that can be done if we peacefully come at a problem and show ourselves as a stable voting base, rather, and a voting base that is not just yours because you're a Democrat or because you're this or you're that. It's like
Mm-hmm.
every time you come to the black vote, you have to come bringing something, because we're not beholden to Democrats, and Democrats come to us sometimes with a message that, well, look at what we're doing for you. We're making sure that uh, you have welfare. We're making sure that you get food stamps. We're making sure that the minimum wage will be raised for you. And we have to look beyond that.
That's right. Oh yeah. I like the fact that you look at things from a solution base and not just as, what the issue is, because we could talk about the issue all day, but if we don't have a solution, then we'll be stuck in that place of just complaining about what the problem is.
Yeah.
And I do agree with, which one of my friends, she told me, she said, look, even when it comes to being a police officer, she said, if you want to change something, you can't fight it from the outside. You got to get inside to make the change. So yeah. I understand where you're coming from with that. You had a question? Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I didn't.
I thought you were saying something. I'm sorry. What was my next question? Do you think, as an artist, as an entertainer, as a band, do you believe that people should be speaking up about all the things that's going on now, or should they kind of remain quiet and focus on what they're doing? Do you think they should keep it separate from what's happening?
A little bit of both. So, like even with our albums, and even Stevie Wonder, using those as an example, there were things that talked about on Intervisions. There was Jesus People of America. There was Living for the City, that really touched on some serious points. But then there were songs that were just kind of, don't you worry about a thing. That's a good message, but it was more of a fun message. I don't think anybody should waste a platform altogether by complaining, or on the other side of it, just talking about trivial things all the way through. I like the balance of using that to help energize and help continue good philosophy. Because if there's anything that's hurting the Black community right now, there's a lack of balance on good philosophy. I mean,
Okay.
there's a lot of things that talk about strength, a lot of things that talk about negative strength. And one of the things, and I might be really dangerous in talking about this, but the record industry loves to push along the idea that Black people are violent and oversexed. And when you look at the music that they demand from their Black artists, it helps purport that and spread that message. And that, again, going back to Stevie Wonder, that happened after he changed national law. I mean, I love Prince, and I love just real hard-hitting rap messages here and there, but they took out all the uh, symbols and examples of positivity and success. I mean, Chic was a group, when you looked at them, they looked like they had run the course and made the money. You looked at Earth, Wind, and Fire, they were exemplifying this world type power, that, taking some from every nation and every people in the world. After Stevie Wonder successfully got Martin Luther King's birthday made federal law, then most of what happened in music, if you listen to the lyrics, a lot of the positive stuff went away.
Now I would ask, would that partly be our fault, because we allow the music industry to control our music and put out our message?
I'm glad you said that, because I started to say it and I'm already very controversial.
Talk that talk.
Yeah. It is our fault, because if we buy it, they'll sell it.
That's
and
right.
if we refuse to buy it, as much as they want to sell that message, they won't be able to because they're still a business.
That's right. And basically that is exactly what I was going to say. I was writing that down because I didn't want to forget. Because when you look at the music before,
yeah,
more back in the day, it was more about love. It was more about respect and loving women and family. So it was possible then, and it's still possible now. However, I do believe, and this is just my opinion, that times have changed and mentalities have changed. And I think that people that should be in a position, or that is in a position of leading, some are trying to fit in more rather than be leaders of the ones coming after them. So I think that that plays a part, because if you have no one to look to, even though you should look to yourself, but the youth coming after us, okay, there should be someone to look to inspire, to do better, to be better. Okay, so if that is not in place, and where I'm going to say where, because I say that my generation is probably the one that started everything so bad. But, and I'm a part of that, because I rap and I had songs like that. I had to look at my stuff too and say, woo, when I look back at some of my stuff, which is it's a part of who I am and who I was, so I embrace it 100%. But I'm conscious now and aware of when I was talking a certain type of way, I said, woo, wow, that was my atmosphere. This is what I was living. This is what I thought was okay. Why did I think this was okay? Why was I so comfortable to speak like that? So I am now learning to, before judging people who do that, let's have a conversation about it. Let's talk about it. Because if we judge, then they put up a wall, and we can't get through to educate and to teach them and have a conversation to make it better. So that's my take on it.
Well, I'm gonna say like this, because he mentioned Public Enemy. Now, Public Enemy, when rap started really taking off, they had a positive message. The executives started hearing, the fuck the police, excuse my language, but hearing that kind of message, and then it gradually, when they started hearing people talk positive about uplifting Black people, that message has to change, because how you like. I'm gonna say it like this: Chuck D, Public Enemy, they created a generational music where today, it's I wouldn't even call it this generation. This generation's music don't even last a few weeks.
It's disposable music.
Yes, that's the word.
Right.
Yeah, they're not creating a longevity in the music. They're getting that fast penny and getting in and grabbing what they can, and then
I like that fast penny. I might write a song. Algae has be careful what you say around me, it'll become a song.
Hey, man, do your thing. Well, again, I think that's also going back to those that are in position to lead. So if you are in a position to lead and to make a change, and you're not doing that, then people are going to follow what the so-called leader or the controllers or the ones who own everything is doing. So you want to take, that's why I take it, and I take it back to being an independent artist, entertainer, band, being able to control what you can put out. Because once you sign a contract with some people, I'm not going to say all, but some people, they might want to change everything about you. And it's important to stay your true self.
Yeah. I had a friend a long time ago. I used to work at United Sound Studios, United Sound System Studios, which George Clinton renamed P-Funk Labs. So whenever you look at the credits on that and it says P-Funk Labs, that's where I used to work. And the guy who was the tech there also was doing, and this is like 88, he was playing some weird stuff on the piano. And I said to him, do you think anybody's going to buy that music? And he says, well, and this was, again, 1988, 87. He said, I don't really need to sell 1 million. If I can get 50,000 people around the world to buy into what I'm doing, it would be like a subscription magazine where every year they would want another one of what I did. And the internet allows us to do that even at a point where we don't need 50,000. If you sell 5,000 as an independent artist with what we're able to do with technology and do an album on a phone, if we're able to do that, we can do it on our own, because with a major label, you're not going to make as much money selling 500,000 copies with a major label as you would make selling 500 copies on your own.
That's right.
When you start looking at where everything goes, and you get this little crumb. Speaking of documentaries, TLC, remember that documentary?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I sure do. I was very shocked. Not totally shocked, because I did hear stories, but I
Yeah.
was very shocked at the fact that they were able to speak up about the fact that they were broke.
Right.
Yeah.
And they said enough is enough. I got to let the people know the truth.
Yeah.
I respect that.
That's
And
what
that-
the record
Go ahead.
labels actually pay, it's like they silence people.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Well, the thing that helped them, death is a two-edged sword. And when Left Eye died, that opened the door for them to say whatever they wanted to say, because they had someone had already been sacrificed in life. So any persecution they wanted to put on them, I mean, they weren't with a major label at the time that they did that documentary, and they had lost a person. So at that point, if anybody wanted to come after them, they're going to pass on that, because they're going to figure, well, just let the people see the documentary, it's history, and we can deny that it happens like that anymore. But it always happens like that.
Wow. What is your favorite genre of music? Do you have a favorite?
It's almost hard to say because I love so many things. I love P-Funk.
Okay.
And this is the way I describe the difference between funky and P-Funk. P-Funk, and you have to know George to really get this. George has the grin of a con man. Like, he did something and yeah, I got away with that. And his music makes you feel like that. And when you listen to the more crossover things from Funkadelic, like Kid Funkadelic, and you listen to Motor Booty Affair, and you listen to One Nation Under a Groove, there are things like Who Says a Black Band Can't Play Rock? The way that moves and everything, it's almost an undanceable groove, but you don't care because it's head nodding music. It's not dancing music.
Okay. Right. So I could tell that you like P-Funk. You say that a lot. You said it a few times.
That's the reason I came to Detroit. I came to be with Thang Incorporated Records. Met with Ron Dunbar, who was the president. Talked to Felipe Wen, formerly of the Spinners, and he offered me an audition to be his keyboardist on the road.
Okay.
Within a month, Thang Incorporated folded. The IRS was after them, and CBS sued them. So I was just kind of left here. And this was 1980. And 7 years later, I got to work with him at United, not in the band, but that was a good thing too, because if you've seen any of the documentaries on P-Funk, George wasn't paying people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But I mean, he's typical of a lot of people in the music industry. James Brown wasn't paying people, which is why he lost Bootsy and the Horny Horns.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I mean, these things come out, right? And it's important to know it.
And please tell me you're watching American Soul.
I am not, you know what? I'm not really watching that much TV at all. Lately, I've been so busy on really trying to build on several different things in business that I'm really trying to limit my television use. So I probably watch TV late night when I'm in the
Yeah.
bed to catch my DVR shows, and then I'm falling asleep on those.
That one is really telling the story of music in the 70s because
Really
it's the story of Soul Train.
watch it.
So it's like you hear all the things you see everything acted out that you might have heard in rumors, like the thing about uh, do you know where the title "There's a Riot Going On" by Sly Stone, that album title? Do you know where that came from?
No, I don't.
He didn't show up. People that were lining up to see him play,
Mhm.
and he was drugged out and didn't go to the gig. So they had to cancel it, and there was a mini riot that broke out. And then later on that year, he released "There's a Riot Going On"
Oh
that
wow.
had, yeah, and but the thing was, that's another one of my big influences, Sly Stone. In fact, we have a song coming up on the album, Mama There Goes That Band, called "Tell Me What I Don't Know." And it starts off like "Owner of a Lonely Heart" by Yes, but then it goes into a real funky Sly Stone groove.
Oh, okay. So I'm glad you said that because my next question was going to be, what do you guys have coming up? Any upcoming albums? Do you have any tours or shows? Whatever you have, let us know what's going on.
Definitely. Right now we're a studio band,
Okay.
and especially now it's a good thing because with COVID, there would be no place to play. There would be no way to pay a band to rehearse and such. So we're kind of in the bat cave right now. But
Okay.
as
Like
what we
everybody else.
yeah, what we want to, when everything clears out, we want to put together a band. I jokingly say, and some people would say, well, that's kind of mean to say, but I say I want to be Maurice White without the Parkinson's. I
Oh,
want to be
without
behind the
Marcus.
scenes.
Oh no.
I
You
know,
kidding for that one, no.
but I want to be behind the scenes, help direct the direction of the band and the members and stuff. And I love the concept of a band that evolves with different members. Where if somebody like for example Tower Power, they cycle through singers, and each of the singers is really good. Um, and even like some of the old bands that have old singing groups that have maybe like the Temptations that only have Otis, who was the original member, and they whenever they need a new person they bring it in. I could see Mama There Goes That Band being that way because thank God we don't look as old as we are, but that at some point you look in the mirror and the mirror says, "That's all the youth in your account."
Oh my God. Mm-mm-mm. Oh no. Is there anything that we didn't ask you that you want the people to know about you and your band?
Well, I think we touched on things, but I'd like to emphasize
Mhm.
what we want to do is give them a good message, and we're careful about what we say. We debate it almost like in some in some ways. I'm like one group, or I'm like the Senate, and Al-Jay is like the House when it comes to things we want to say, because we want to say things exactly, especially about what's going on now in 2020. But we don't want to offend people. And I'm not saying we're not saying things that need to be said, but we're very careful about where we're saying it. So, because if you offend somebody, as you were talking about before, uh, people's natural reaction is to defend themselves if
That's
you
right.
offend them. So you never get to your point. But if you, as Jesus did, Jesus used parables. And the parable is what it is. When he said to the holy or the people that were getting ready to stone the woman, let him that is without sin cast the first stone. There was no place for an argument there, because it's like go ahead and do it if you've done nothing wrong.
Right.
Because if you've done something wrong, we need to be getting some rocks for you too.
That is a fact. That is a fact. Oh gosh. So tell people how they can support your group. Tell people where they can follow the social medias of where your music is at. Let everybody know about that.
Okay, well, if you find us on Facebook, we're working on a website, but for right now we're on Facebook. And if you look up Mama There Goes That Band on Facebook, all of our information is there. And this is to your audience. Please like us so that we can get the information of what we're doing, because we all have a really good feeling like this album is going to open a door toward more excellent music, because people they frequent these secondhand record stores because they're looking for music that is good, and there needs to be new music that's good too.
That's right. That's right. Very true. And one of the questions I forgot to ask. So you guys signed to a label?
Yeah, we're with DJ Cisco.
All right, DJC Radio Global. Hey.
There you go.
That's right. Okay. And your music can be purchased?
You know what? It's almost like I didn't know there was going to be a test.
I'm sorry, but you want the people to, if they see this and they don't know about you, you want them to go download your music, to buy it, to stream
Definitely.
it. So, yes.
We're on most of the major streaming sites, Apple Music, and I would, I would really encourage, go to the Facebook page for Mama There Goes That Band, and there's so much more information than I'm able to give, because I have the oldest brain in the group, so I forget a lot of stuff.
It's okay. Well, I do know that you guys you have your stuff on all streaming major platforms.
Yep.
Or someone can also purchase your music on the DJC radio show.com. They can purchase it and they'll get an MP3, download it. So that's another way to be able to come and support your group, right?
Yeah.
And
I couldn't say it better myself.
Huh?
I couldn't have said it better myself, apparently.
That's all right. We're a team. No worry.
There you go.
And yeah, so again, you want to make sure that you follow Mama There Goes That Band. You want to make sure you support, if you are about getting a good message out there, if you want to support good people that's doing good things, that has great music, Mama There Goes That Band is where you want to be. Mama There Goes That Band is who you want to support. So make sure you guys follow them on all their social medias. Go to their Facebook page. There should be an Instagram page. Do you guys have a YouTube?
We do have a YouTube channel too.
Okay, go to their YouTube channel. You can go to DJ Cisco, I believe it's the DJ Cisco Radio Show.com, and you can download their MP3 song instantly and get that and share. The way that these artists and these bands are able to reach outside of their own fan base is when people like you share to your people. So make sure you guys share their music. We're going to be putting all of the links up so you guys can see in this post. And is there any final words that you would like to say before we end this?
Well, you guys are beautiful.
Thank you. So are you.
Yeah, I've seen you, especially on the different things that are on the internet, but to see you in person, see you guys, it's really been a joy for me.
Oh, thank you. Listen, we enjoyed having you. You've been a great guest and very educational, by the way. Yeah. So we learned a lot. And that's why I love doing this too, because I just know that it's so much that you can learn from people. And thank you for all that you do. Continue to make great music and continue to put good messages out. We need that, especially now, more than
Amen.
ever in this day and time. So thank you so much. And that's it. We're going to get out of here.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
You have a good day, okay?
You also.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
St. Louis, you can make it. Bless up. In a bit of Mississippi, you can make it. Wake up. Yeah. In Oakland, Cali, too. You know what to do. We can make it if we try.
We've gotta try before we decide it's over. We've got some things to get over yet, and everything that holds us back from our goals. We gotta act like we're not confused.
We can make it. Starting now, let's make it better. We can make it better now. Let us share the gold and our peace, love, and souls. 'Cause that's what it takes to make it another